I'm not saying that Jimmy G can't play. I'm not saying he's a scrub, and I'm certainly not insulting him when I call him porn star Jimmy. It's no insult there whatsoever. All I'm trying to say is this. You get to several layers before you get to Jimmy G when you're talking about the San Francisco 49ers. You're talking about that defense. When you compartmentalize the defense, you're talking about the defensive line led by Rookie of the Year, Nick Bosa and these boys, okay? Then you've got not only that, you got the secondary guided by Richard Sherman. You talk on the offensive side of the ball, you got the play calling of Kyle Shanahan, You've got the running back. And by the way, Breida was back, so you had Breida there, even though he only got 4 carries last year. You got Mostert, you got Tevin Coleman. These brothers can run the football. This is an elite running attack that they have available to them. You've got George Kittle, who had 13 receptions on 17 targets for 134 yards. There's a discussion as to whether or not he's the best tight end in football. Some will say it's not a debate because he's a better blocker than Travis Kelce. I'm going to give my brother Travis Kelce some love. It's still a conversation. It's still a debate. In the end, what it comes down to, you mentioned all those things, and you're concerned about all those things before you get to Jimmy Garoppolo. So to me, if I'm game planning for the San Francisco 49ers, you know what I'm doing as a defense? I'm keying on a running game and Kittle to the best of my ability, and I'm going to dare, and I'm not saying he can't do it, but I'm going to dare. I believe my best shot to beat San Francisco is to dare Jimmy Garoppolo to go after, you got to throw the ball to Emmanuel Sanders and Deebo Samuel, and we both know those boys can play. Jimmy G, as good as he is the question mark on that team.
What's the hardest thing about prepping for you and me on this show? It's finding sometimes disagreement on obvious stuff, right? Yeah. When you and I naturally disagree and we don't have to look for it, boy, life is easy. Let me tell you something. You are dead wrong on this. Like you got the information exactly, or you got the same information, but your conclusion is exactly backwards. What happened yesterday? They pressured Jimmy G. Now, he still completed around 2/3 of his passes.
Only got sacked once.
Yeah, but he was under pressure. He completed about 2/3 of his passes. He had a touchdown and no interceptions, 200 yards. Not spectacular. He didn't really mess up. What actually happened is they're going to get the yards on the ground anyway. Mm-hmm. But if you can pressure Jimmy G, if you can disturb him, that's actually your best chance to win. It's counterintuitive, but that's how it is. Why did they lose the game? They've lost 3 games this season, folks. Every time on a last drive play, on a last possession play by the opponent, a couple of field goals and a touchdown. By the way, that means the defense is breaking or bending and breaking at the last minute. Great defense. They only lost 3 games, but it's actually, and why is the defense not as up to snuff yesterday? They had half the defense available to them. Half their started. You think if you're going up against Julio Jones, you could use Richard Sherman? I think so, right? So even think then it took arguably the best receiver of the era in Julio Jones making a last-second grab that was only a touchdown on review to beat them. The defense gave up a couple field goals earlier, and Stephen A., I know why it would seem like, no, you got a key on the running game. It seemed to me like they're like, yo, their running game, they're going to get theirs regardless. But can we make this dude uncomfortable? And they made Jimmy Garoppolo uncomfortable and therefore got the win. It's not like Jimmy G had the ball in his hands, is about to win the game and overthrew someone. It's that the defense broke because half the guys are missing. That's it. Jimmy G's come through for him under pressure. Just look a couple weeks ago.
Well, that once again, you're trying to convolute the narrative. Nobody is trying. We're not talking about yesterday per se and just limiting it to that. They play the Atlanta Falcons. They've overachieved over the last few weeks because they stunk up the joint the first half of the season. We all know that, put themselves in a hole. And their coach, Quinn, is on a hot seat. He could be fired at the end of the season. You're going up against your former offensive coordinator if you're Matt Ryan and you're Quinn, and we get all of that. What I'm saying is, I'm looking at the San Francisco 49ers, and I'm piggybacking off the previous conversation about Green Bay, a conversation we might have about New Orleans, a conversation that we've had about the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm looking at the potential competition that lies in wait come playoff time. And I'm saying if you're going to look at how to beat the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, Max, don't be literal. I'm not saying let Jimmy G stand back in a pocket, take phone calls, call a girl, let's go out to dinner and all this stuff with no pressure whatsoever before he throws a damn pass. I'm not saying you let that happen, but what I am saying is there are more tangible elements of evidence to be far more worried about than Jimmy G.
Well, I mean, it's like this is what Belichick always does. He doesn't let you beat you. He doesn't let you beat him with your best option or your second best option. You heard him on the sidelines. Let Manningham beat us. Then if Manningham beats you, he tips his cap, right? I don't think that's the case on this team with Jimmy G. I think, earlier you may have been right, but I think you're looking at the Niners now and not saying dare Jimmy G to beat you. It's more like make that guy uncomfortable.
Well, you want
to make him uncomfortable.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. For me personally, I remember what we were talking about when we talked about Jason Witten. And obviously he's older. He's not what he used to be. We get all of that. But we talked about the security blanket that he provided to Dak Prescott, short yardage situation, security blanket. You got a guy you can dip and dunk to over that. And Jason Witt, has been even better than expected this year, considering his age and the fact that he was away from the game for a year. George Kittle is the real deal.
Oof.
This brother's a superstar. He's a superstar tight end. I'm trying to tell you
everything.
We're going to be talking about Kittle the way that we've been talking about Gronkowski. I'm telling you, eventually, it's going to happen. He's that special.
One of those dudes, yeah.
He's one of those dudes. What are you going if you set up there and you key on him and you dare Jimmy T to throw outside the numbers? I'd like to see what happens.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.